Welcome to the City Show. Pat O Melia here. You concerned resident there. That's why I do this show. I don't see my countdown going. Somebody forgot to press a button like I do in the Tom's River Show. There we go. All right, today, first off on the bottom of the screen, you need to get in touch with us. You'll see our Twitter, the YouTube, and the Facebook, our live stream. Our live stream is our base network where we archive all our shows. We pay for that service, unlike with YouTube. But you don't have to. You can download the app. It's free, and there's far more programming than just mine. It's a free app. It's a good app. It's a good streaming service. For that matter, I think my contract's up in about 3 months, so I'll have to negotiate another figure. But it's a good service. We don't have to worry about getting kicked off YouTube for anything controversial like COVID-19 vaccines. Don't forget, double down on that second shot. We're way behind. For that matter, in Hudson County, my home county, the city with the least amount of vaccinated people is Union City. We're at 29%. Read the story on NJ 101.5, and I texted to all the appropriate people here in Hudson County to step it up. The most vaccinated city in Hudson County was Secaucus. All right, today what we're going to discuss is tax-exempt status for many businesses in Jersey City. We're going to concentrate on Jersey City, but it's all over. Years ago, I got with Mayor Fulop. There are, I think it was 780 what we call Class 15 C and Ds in Jersey City. That's a lot. And it just came to light with WFMU's tax status being challenged. We're going to talk about Mr. Fulop, the mayor of Jersey City, is appealing to Trenton to close the loopholes with the payroll tax here in Jersey City. Mayor Fulop is going to go out and do some serious bonding for $82 million, but I'm going to go through everything he's going to spend it on because I'm with him on it. And with time permitting, who should be paying school taxes? And that's an interesting question when you start looking at who pays and why. All right, you're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design studio and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights. Your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments. Carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
We're back, City Show. Pat O Melia here, you there. Recently, if you were following this in the Jersey Journal on NJ.com, WFMU, a freeform radio station here in Jersey City's tax-exempt status was challenged. Now, the city has a new tax assessor, well, at least new for the last year or so, but the tax assessor really is state-controlled. So the tax assessor obviously is questioning the tax status of many businesses, from the radio station to religious entities to dance schools. All these, somehow, some way, received a tax exemption on property taxes. And they're classified in Jersey City as 15C and 15D. Years ago, I looked into this and I brought it to Mayor Fulop's attention, really looking at the Catholic Church, which is truly becoming a real estate company. Catholic here, went to St. John's School in Jersey City, public school. When I got thrown out of St. John's School on Boulevard, they sent me to 23 School and off to public education from there. They had closed the school, St. John's School, elementary school on the Boulevard on St. Paul's Avenue, and it was closed for a while, and it was tax exempt. Well, the city put it back on the tax rolls, and that caught the attention of the archdiocese and the priests and all, like, whoa, wait a minute. Now, that piece of property is about a block long, at least a block long, and it was just sitting there. So the city put it back on the tax rolls. The church went and argued that, it's still in the business of religion. I actually spoke out about reinstating the tax status. the reason, the city council listened to all the arguments and went ahead and reissued the tax exemption status because the church said we conduct monthly AA meetings in there. And that was it. Okay, that's it. AA meetings, boom. A whole block is tax exempt. That was wrong. Now, it's a school, Golden Door Charter School, I believe it is. You know, that's fine. You should let the Golden Door Charter School go for that tax exempt status. They're in there probably on that religious exemption right now. That's wrong. But there are a lot of those in Jersey City. For that matter, you'll see churches that have property, say, on Ocean Avenue when they're up in the Heights. Why is that two-family home on Ocean Avenue tax exempt? Because it's owned by the church. But that isn't doing anything about religion there. There's no church, there's no God in those houses. There are tenants paying rents, and the city's not getting a property tax on it. Well, the tax exempt tax assessor questioned the FMU tax status, and it looks like they're going to remain tax exempt here. They got land up on the waterfront there. And it's coming to light that this tax assessor is doing their job. For a long time, hospitals were tax exempt. The Jersey City Medical Center is a not-for-profit. Palisades Hospital in North Bergen, not-for-profit. They're not-for-profit. Eventually, the municipalities in the state started questioning this because a lot of these not-for-profit entities straddle the line between profit and for-profit, where they might be part of the operation as not-for-profit, but they certainly have profit centers. And what happened in the hospital business, the municipality said, they started suing, saying, yeah, not really, it's not-for-profit. So a lot of the hospitals either entered a pilot program, payments in lieu of taxes, or fee on beds, and I think there's something coming out of Trenton someday that'll codify all that when it comes to these hospital operations, because they have grown so big with these mergers that they were taking over for-profit centers and they were going under the tax exempt, and that wasn't right. And that's what's happening a lot with the 15C and 15Ds in Jersey City. They're straddling that line, and sometimes they're crossing over that line. And that's what the tax assessor is looking at. And, like I said, you're paying your property taxes. These other people should be paying the property taxes also, especially when it comes to the religious organizations. Again, going back to the Catholic Church, they close these schools, then they rent the schools to some charter place, charter operation for a charter school, and they're signing up on like a triple net lease, so the church is getting nice, one big fat check. They're no longer paying the insurances, no planning paying any taxes, the payrolls or anything. But on the flip side, they're not growing any Catholics either. So when the Catholic Church starts wondering, we don't have any parishioners, because you're not growing any Catholics anymore. What you did, you got into the real estate business. And that's why a lot of these institutions, the city and the state also, is looking into these tax exempt statuses. And like I said, when there's a church up on Kennedy Boulevard in the Heights has 2-3 family homes on Ocean Avenue somewhere and they're tax exempt, there's a problem. As long as the property is in the business of religion, no problem with the tax exemption. But when it's no longer functioning as a house of worship or something to do with the religion, then it loses that tax exempt status. So kudos to the tax assessor for looking at these. And there's like about 700 more they got to look at. All right, we're going to break the commercial. You're watching The City Show. I'll be right back. We're back. City Show here. You there? And by the way, WFMU, when the Yankees took my time slots on NJ 1430, WNJR, I contacted WFMU to move the Jersey City show. That's where I started in radio, to Jersey City, and they wouldn't even talk to me. So, I'm not a big fan of WFMU because of that reason. Mayor Fulop has appealed to Trenton for assistance with the Jersey City payroll tax. If you recall, we passed the payroll tax, 1%, on non-Jersey City residents who work in Jersey City. Yeah, if you're a Jersey City resident, you're exempt from this. I didn't think it would pass legal muster, but it did, and it's in place. The problem with it is, first off, the Jersey City Board of Education that's trying to dig into everybody's pockets in Jersey City, whether you live here or not, it doesn't matter, have an issue with the amount of money collected. They had predicted, I think it was going to raise $85 million a year. And in 2020, it had a shortfall. I think it came in something like $60 million a year. And the Jersey City Board of Education is a bit miffed at that. But there was that thing. It was a problem in 2020. Pandemic. There was that pandemic thing where there were no payrolls for a long time anywhere in the United States. Very few businesses remained open. So that had an effect on the payroll tax. So we'll see what happens. As we, it looks like we're getting out of this, as of Friday, the Friday before Memorial Day, take the mask off, walk next to somebody, you don't have to do the 6-foot distance. There, we've come to the light at the end of that tunnel. Try not to take trips to India or Japan right now, but we've come to the end. And somewhere during the middle of June, a lot of the emergencies and moratoriums that were issued will expire. But again, the payroll tax was short. But one of the problems is collection and enforcement. The city doesn't have the apparatus to do it. You're on the honor system if you're an employer in Jersey City and you got a certain amount. I think if you have over 10 people, and again, if the Jersey City residents, they're exempt from it, about paying into the tax. And again, 2020 was a very difficult time. So I would probably try to start fresh in 2021, even though the Jersey City Board of Ed doesn't want to waive interest and penalty on anybody who didn't pay into the payroll tax. What Mayor Fulop is asking the state to do is take over the collection of the payroll tax. The state has all the information on the businesses already. They have the apparatus and the ability to collect. They have the ability to issue liens and judgments and that sort of thing. And it makes sense for the state to do it. Now, the Jersey City public schools would have to deal with the state to get their money and accounting, so that's probably one of the reasons they would probably prefer Jersey City collected. The thing is, Jersey City doesn't have the enforcement power or the manpower to monitor this and collect it and send it over. As it stands now, the city of Jersey City, and as with most municipalities, they're collecting the taxes for, of course, the municipality itself, the county, and the schools. There was a time when Mayor Glenn D. Cunningham was the mayor of Jersey City. He was seriously thinking about not collecting for the county, but there was a whole political war going on there. Maybe Mayor Fulop should have the Jersey City Board of Ed collect the money themselves, do all the due diligence, the paperwork, the legwork, the enforcement, and all that. Of course, they wouldn't want to do that. That could be a big problem. But I can see why Mayor Fulop would like to have Jersey City eliminated from the collections of this payroll tax. It wasn't a tax that many people were in favor of. A lot of the developers here in Jersey City, a lot of the landlords and the commercial landlords were against this and figuring that it was going to it eventually probably will hurt Jersey City in the long run. Again, 2020 is an odd year because of the pandemic. It'll be interesting to see how jobs come back, first of all, from the pandemic itself, and with Jersey City sitting there with a payroll tax on non-Jersey City residents or people who work for Jersey City companies. That's going to be an issue going forward. 1%, it doesn't sound like a lot until you start adding these 1% things on, 0.5% here, 1% for open space, 1% for the artists, 1% for historical. And after a while, you start adding up all those 1% here, it starts turning into some real money. So that becomes a concern. It'll be interesting to see as we come out of the pandemic where businesses, and we're going to be studying this pandemic for a lot of years, and the casualties from the pandemic are still to be counted, and they're still to come. So as far as that's concerned, it will take probably 2-3 years to get out from that pandemic. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
Hudson Regional Hospital, we promise to be prepared for your emergency.
We promise to provide world-class robotic surgical care.
We promise to treat you like family.
To provide accurate diagnostic care.
To provide the most innovative orthopedic care at your doorsteps.
We promise to treat your baby like our own.
To never stop investing in the best of spinal care.
To be with you every step of the way.
Here at Hudson Regional Hospital, we promise to take care of our community.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
We're back. O Melia here, City Show. You there? Following up again on Mayor Fulop. He's the target of today's show. Mayor Fulop wants to stay ahead of inflation, and inflation is there, and it is going to be coming more and more. Again, a lot of this inflation has to do with the pandemic, with the stimulus, infrastructure, putting people back to work. I got probably another good 10 years in me of working, so I'm not the one that have to pay all this money back. It will be younger people, like the people that work here. But the inflation is real, and it's probably going to get worse. What Mayor Fulop wants to do is get ahead of the inflation and start his capital projects he has here in Jersey City. They're sitting on drawing boards and in the conference rooms. What Mayor Fulop is looking to do is going to bond for $82.4 million in bonding for a series of city projects. The largest expense out of the $82.4 million is $39.5 million will go towards the renovation, reconstruction, rehabilitation, and improvements of various city municipal buildings. He's also going to open a police department training center on some city-owned property we have now. He's looking at a homeless drop-off center at the Holland Gardens, where there will continue to be a homeless center down there. Probably the project that intrigues me the most is City Hall. Mayor Fulop is going to, I don't know, I guess you would call it renovate and reconstruct and restore the 4th floor of City Hall. Now, when I read the story in the, I think the JJ, I was reading it today. That's where we got a lot of the information. I wasn't aware that the 4th floor was closed. I wasn't aware there was a 4th floor at City Hall. And I've been running around City Hall pretty much forever. There was a fire back in 1979, and it pretty much ripped through City Hall. And to this date, 1979, 42 years later, the 4th floor is still not accessible to city employees. It's just closed off. Think about that. 42 years, the 4th floor has been closed. People have started with City Hall and retired and never got to go to the 4th floor. And you think about all the office space that the city has paid for over those years when it had a whole 4th floor that could have been renovated and restored much cheaper back in, say, the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s. But no, for whatever reason. Jerry McCann didn't care about it. Brett Shumler didn't seem to bother him. Glenn D., who was a historian guy, I'm surprised he didn't get onto that 4th floor just to restore the building, passed him. I'll give Harvey a pass on this. He was only there as mayor for 6 months, but he was a city council president for a long time. Then you had Jeremiah Healy, 10 years, another one on the 4th floor. 42 years the 4th floor has been closed. So Mayor Fulop is now going to tackle the 4th floor. And if you've been to City Hall recently, first off, if you can, try to get down to the basement. It is now accessible to the average person. Philip and his team have done a tremendous job. Again, I've been going through City Hall forever. And you would go through the basement when you parked at City Hall parking lot, go through the basement, and come up to the mayor's office. It was boarded off, walled off, furniture in front of the doors, paper on the glass. I never in all the years did any type of business in the basement of City Hall. It just wasn't utilized. Which now it is. The caucus room's down there. There's city personnel will be working in the basement. Never done before in all the years that I've been running around City Hall. And their fourth floor. You've only been using basically 50% of City Hall. So kudos to Mayor Fulop for putting the money into restoring what he's done. And like I said, go take a look at it. You'll be amazed at what has been done there at City Hall. Go to the mayor's office too. He did a lot of work in there. So I'm certain the fourth floor will look fine. Plus, Mayor Fulop's talking about buying some new equipment for DPW, snow plows. We always need snow plows. Pickup trucks, backhoes, force lifts, all that DPW type of equipment. And he's also going to come up with monies from that $82.4 million for the new North District and the South District. Both of those are over 100 years old. Just think. The North District, they could have locked up Dillinger. That's how old that building is. Oh, well, actually, I think it's well over 100 years old. It's been around a long time. The cops deserve a better facility. They're going to build one right across the street. I guess Philip's looking to purchase more land there. Unfortunately, we are building it on a parking lot, so we lose parking. But that's how we do it in Jersey City. All right, you're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport. Live like you want.
Pinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintoproperties.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Cutting edge surgical care is right here in Secaucus.
Robotic surgery is safer.
Shorter hospital stays.
Smaller abdominal incisions, the size of an M&M. Here at Hudson Regional, we provide world-class robotic surgical care.
We're back. Pat O Melia here. You there? Like I said, if you get an opportunity, go visit City Hall. One of the great stories, Philip's team was replacing linoleum. And they're pulling up the linoleum. They're going to lay down into some new tile. They found the original floor, which was in great shape, but probably in the 70s or maybe after the fire. Lay some linoleum there. Who should pay school taxes? Everybody does, right? Right now, Jersey City school taxes are, it can easily be classified as out of control. Right now, we're at $27,135 per student to educate a student in Jersey City. Each one, 30,000 students. At that rate, now again, you just got an increase of $1,000 this year. You had 37% last year. Funny how those increases were allowed to go through during the pandemic, when there were rent moratoriums and eviction freezes and whatever they could have private business freeze, they froze. But the state and the cities, they could be breaking those taxes or anything like that, but that's one of the things that'll be studied in the future. There can be no affordable housing in Jersey City if the taxes are out of control. Now, you got to credit Mayor Fulop and his group and the council people for holding the line on taxes. I think since Mayor Fulop has been the mayor, it's like almost 8 years. I think in the 8 years, if you add it up, I think he added 8%. I know in the first term, it was like, I think it was 6% or so, and then recently 2%. The school taxes are out of control. And of course, depending on the formula with the county government, that can get out of control too, but there's a formula used there. Again, with the taxes and the situation is with schools, there'll be no affordability. And come mid-June, many of Murphy's emergency orders will expire, and those emergency orders are rent increase freezes. Well, remember when I mentioned that $1,000 this year and 37% last year tax increase on the schools? That can now be passed on. Eviction moratoriums will expire, and there's a whole bunch of them waiting to happen. You know, when they like foreclosures, there was no freeze on foreclosures. You know, again, property owners got hurt. It really wasn't fair on how we did some of this stuff, and that'll be something that will be studied for years to come on who benefited out of this, and did the state and municipal governments do the right thing. But what is fair when it comes to school taxes? Is it fair that only parents with children in school pay school taxes? Probably not, I guess. Is it fair a single person with no children who bought a home in Jersey City or a condo has to pay school taxes if they have no one in school? Doesn't seem fair to me. How about a childless couple? They have no children in school. Is it fair they pay school taxes? Doesn't seem fair. Seniors, you know, the kids are out of school 30 years, 35 years. So fair that they're paying property taxes today for schools that, you know, their kids have been out of, you know, 30 years, 20 years. What about parents who send their kids to private schools or Catholic schools? Is it fair they still pay a school tax when they're already writing a check to a private or a religious school? Probably not. Let me get my pages. Should there be a cutoff date? You know, your kids graduated from school and you're going to pay school taxes for 5 years after they're out of school, or 10 years, not a lifetime. You know, their kid's been out of school 25 years, I'm still paid. That doesn't seem fair. What about the people whose kids went to school in Jersey City, they graduated high school, and then they moved? They're not paying any of that school tax anymore. And is there something we should do about that? Wait, you're leaving? Not so fast. We still want you to pay school taxes in Jersey City. You know, when you look at the way the school taxes are structured and who's paying them, and the vast difference between what it is in Jersey City, we did Tom's River, that's 80 miles from here, an hour drive, $10,000 less per student. These are questions that are going to have to start being answered. Who should be paying them and what is fair? All right, we're out of show. You be good, you be safe. I'll talk to you during the week. Good night.